Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So yeah, in this video I'm going to be talking about 10 4Ks that I think are definitely worth the upgrade, definitely worth your time. And if you're a big movie collector, I think these 10 movies should definitely be part of it. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about, these 4Ks. I'm someone who's fairly new to 4K. I've been collecting 4K for a little under a year now. And I think these 10 movies that I've picked really lend themselves to the format. And yeah, these just really sort of stood out to me. I was someone who could never really sort of see the difference between Blu-ray and 4K, but I think with these 10 movies, I definitely saw some improvement from them when watching them on 4K. So yeah, my number 10 pick that I think would suit to your collections is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's a fantastic movie. I grew up with this one, and yeah, I've got to say, this it offers so much in terms of color. This movie, and particularly when we go into the factory, and the vibrancy of it, I think is just captured so well for the format, and it lends itself brilliantly. Um, and yeah, I've just got to say, it sounds fantastic. This is a great movie with some great songs in it as well. And yeah, it's just a superb addition to see on 4K. It's definitely one that I sort of grew up with on DVD, shall we say, and videotape, and just seeing it in 4K was just like watching it for the first time again. It's just absolutely superb. So yeah, that is my number 10 pick, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So coming in at number 9, we've got a movie by George Romero, and it is, of course, his zombie classic, Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, again, watching this on 4K was like watching it for the first time. Again, the only thing is I think some of the makeup in the movie doesn't hold up as well, and 4K can really sort of bring to light the flaws, shall we say, in these types of movies. But I still wouldn't change it for anything. It's the way the movie was made, the way the movie was intended. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead, it's an absolute classic horror. It looks fantastic in 4K. To get the 3 cuts of the movie as well in this edition is just superb. And Second Sight really did a fantastic job with this movie. And yeah, it's a great 4K. It'd be a great addition if you love the movie. And yeah, it's just absolutely superb. So yeah, that is Dawn of the Dead. So next up, coming at number 8 for me, is a movie I've got in this big 50th anniversary collector's edition, and it is The Godfather. So yeah, the movie I'm going with out this set is the first one. I watched the first one on 4K a couple of months ago, and yeah, it blew me away, to be honest with you. I've seen the movie on DVD and I've seen it on Blu-ray before, and watching it on those formats, the movie always kind of had this orange glow, orange tinge to it. And yeah, that's always sort of been the way I've remembered watching the movie. But when I put the 4K on, that sort of seemed to disappear, that orange glow, that orange tinge, and the colours were just so much more vibrant. It felt like I was actually sort of watching a home movie at this wedding at the start of the film. And yeah, I've just got to say, it looked absolutely fantastic. It was almost sort of breathtaking, as it were, seeing it in 4K. Really, again, lends itself to the format of The Godfather, I think. Parts 2 and 3 look great also as well. But I've got to say, the one that blew me out of the water was Godfather 1. Yeah, it just looked absolutely superb. I'm not saying get this set. I don't think this set's for everybody. I know the Godfather films can be quite divisive, not in terms of quality, but just in terms of enjoyment. I know they're obviously, the first two are obviously like some of the best movies ever made, but I do understand that they're not for everyone. But if you are fans of the Godfather, I would say definitely at least get the first one on 4K, because it just looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that is my number 8 pick, The Godfather. So coming in at number 7 for me is an absolute sci-fi classic for me. I love this movie. I love the violence in this film. And it is, of course, Paul Verhoeven's Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, this is a movie I grew up with. I think it's fantastic. I'm a big Arnie fan. And this movie sort of lent itself for 4K to me just because of the reds of Mars in this film. My word, they are so vibrant and yeah, just injected with life, shall we say. Yeah, just everything about this film. I love looking at it in 4K. It's got, again, so many colours in it that just 4K sort of elevates, shall we say. And the big takeaway definitely was those reds of Mars. Every sort of sequence that you see, where the opening sequence as well, obviously with this dream sequence on Mars, is just, it's fantastic. Just, I've never seen anything like it. The reds just look so pure, so fresh. I can't really say much more about it than that. It just looked absolutely fantastic. The score of this movie as well sounds amazing. The music almost sounds like this military march, as it were, and it really, really does a wonder for your speakers, and it's fantastic. So yeah, gotta check out Total Recall on 4K if you've not seen it. Definitely one of the better ones. So coming up next at number 7 for me was a movie I've watched a couple of times this year, but I put the 4K on, and I've got to say, my word, I was just blown away by it. And it is Joel Schumacher's The Lost Boys. Yeah, this was another one that I could tell a night and day difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K on this. The clarity on it was crystal clear. This is a movie with a great soundtrack as well. Some of the music in this is just superb. And yeah, I've just got to say, it looked phenomenal. It really did. The sequences, obviously, on the beachfront, the fairground, and the party just look absolutely fantastic. As I said, the music in this film is great. That Tim Capello song, Still Believe, has never sounded better. And yeah, it's just a wonderful, wonderfully acted movie. And again, the 4K just absolutely blew the movie out of the water. So yeah, definitely add the Lost Boys on 4K to your collection if you haven't already. So yeah, coming up next, we've got a Tim Burton movie. I adore this movie. It's one I grew up with. It's one of my favourite sequels, and yeah, I think it's quite an underrated film. Had the pleasure of watching this back to back with the original at the cinema a couple of years ago before COVID, and yeah, that is Batman Returns. Yeah, again, what can I say about the 4K transfer on this? The Elfman score is just elevated again. The color sequences in this movie are just absolutely vibrant. It's probably, if the Penguin is a character that you kind of find a bit grotesque in this movie, the 4K just elevates those sequences and those scenes again to really sort of make you feel more uncomfortable and sort of present it in clearer detail. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I really do enjoy this one. This is one of those movies that's sort of like a Christmas movie without full on being a Christmas movie, shall we say? And yeah, it's just a really, really wonderful film. It's probably out of the set of the four movies, the Burton and Schumacher movies, this is the best looking one. I definitely have to say. But yeah, it's a great superhero movie, and it's a superb 4K. It just looks absolutely outstanding. So yeah, that is Batman Returns. Next up, we've got another Tim Burton movie. And yeah, this was actually the first 4K I ever sat down and watched. And that is, of course, Beetlejuice. I love the movie. I had a love-hate relationship with the movie growing up. As it were, I couldn't get into it at first, but it's a 10 out of 10 movie for me now. I absolutely love it. And like I said, it was the first 4K I ever watched, and it was one I could really, really sort of see the difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K. Again, the colour and vibrancy, this movie has so much going for it to play around with the 4K. It just looks absolutely stellar, and again, crystal clear. And I've noticed as well with 4Ks is, for me, the sort of the deciding factor for me as to whether it's a good 4K or not is the clarity of the text in a movie. Whenever the sort of the title card comes up or the name of the cast of characters comes up, that to me is a real strong indicator as to how good of a 4K I'm in for watching, shall we say. Just I don't know what it is, but like, you can sort of tell with text in movies, you know, the clarity on the 4K, you know you're in for a good ride, and you know you're in for watching a good 4K if the text really stands out to you. And as soon as I put this movie on, I could see the difference. It was almost night and day, to be honest. I'd say this is that much, that this is that good of a 4K for me, that I'm almost annoyed by it, because I could see the cracks in the movie, in the makeup and the effects. They really, really stood out that much. So it's sort of like a counter argument with it. But I've got to say, regardless of that, the movie is still fantastic and it looks amazing on 4K. There were things that I never ever noticed before in the movie, particularly the pan outs of the house in the movie. There were characters at the bottom of the screen I never noticed before. And yeah, I think movies as well with like a lot of greenery in them, like trees and grass sequences, really do pop. And Beetlejuice just absolutely is a fine example of displaying that. And yeah, it's just a great looking 4K, one of my favorites, and I just think it's superb. So yeah, that is Beetlejuice. So coming in at third place for me is a John Carpenter film. I'd heard through the grapevine that this movie was exceptional. It was just one of the best 4Ks out there, and it didn't disappoint. So that is, of course, The Thing. Again, this is another movie that potentially just lends itself to 4K. The practical effects in this movie are some of the best ever put to the sword in film, in my opinion. They are just wonderful, and again, lend themselves perfectly to the 4K treatment. It's just a superb experience watching this film in 4K. It really is. The clarity on it was crystal clear again, and it was superb. I couldn't say much more about it. If you've seen the film, you know how good those practical effects are, and just seeing them in 4K, the colours of them are just really sort of stomach churning in a good way, because I think that's what the movie's supposed to do. But yeah, just seeing those colours with those effects and the creature effects, it was just sublime and just wonderful to see it in 4K. And yeah, that's why I think The Thing is definitely one worth investing in, because it just looked absolutely superb. So yeah, that is my third pick, The Thing. So coming in at number 2 for me was a movie that was sort of, this 4K was recommended to me by my good friend Jason Brett. I said I'd pick this movie up, and he said this 4K is just, it's one of the best out there. It's just absolutely superb. And it is, of course, Steven Spielberg's Jaws. I was a bit disappointed to not get a slip with this one, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But it is what it is. So I put the disc in and I was scanning through the movie, and the opening scene, the underwater title card, I thought looked fine. It looked fine, and I was thinking, okay, this is looking okay. It's a bit underwhelming, but it's looking okay. And then obviously the movie then opens with a nighttime sequence at this beach, and I thought, okay, I'm a little underwhelmed by it, but it looks good. It looks good. And then I skipped to a couple of sequences round about the beach sequences in the movie. That's when it hit me, and I just thought, oh my word, this is something special. The daylight sequences in this movie, I think, really sort of are the highlight, shall we say, of this movie. And yeah, it was phenomenal. It clicked with me then that I could understand, you know, why it was hailed as one of the best 4Ks, and it certainly is. If you're a fan of the movie, definitely invest in the 4K of this. It is just superb, and that's, you know, even just after viewing it, just for those sequences, I could tell I wasn't really in the mood to watch the film. I know the film pretty well, inside out. It's one I've watched countless times, but seeing it in 4K is just absolutely wonderful. It really is. Again, the colour, the blue skies, the brown sandy beaches of this movie just look absolutely breathtaking. And yeah, it was a phenomenal movie to sit through. So yeah, that is Jaws on 4K at my number 2 pick. So my number 1 pick is a movie that came in this set by the director, and I've got to say, I watched all 4 of these movies the other night, but one of them stood out to me, and at this point, the time of making this video, this is my favourite 4K. It's the best looking one I think I've ever seen, and it is, of course, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo is the one I'm going with. My word, for a movie as old as Vertigo is, the 4K was just flawless. Really, really flawless. I'm hearing a lot of things about grain in 4Ks as well. Granted, some of these movies do have grain, and how it looks is, can be a bit off-putting to some people, but Vertigo for me was like someone had ironed all the grain out of it, and the colours were just injected with so much life. The sequences of the Golden Gate Bridge, I actually felt like I was just looking out a window at San Francisco when watching it, and it was just, I was in awe of how good this movie looked. Kind of jealous as to how good it looked. It was just superb. I couldn't sort of wrap my head around the movie whilst I was watching it, going, this can't look as good as it does. I can't really explain it. It was just an absolutely joy to sit through to watch Vertigo. The colours of the woods in the wood sequences, the San Francisco Bay, it just looks absolutely gorgeous. And it was just a fantastic experience. If you can get Vertigo or get this set for a decent price on 4K, you will 100% be doing yourself a disservice not picking this set up or the movie up on 4K, if 4K is your thing, because Vertigo for me is the best 4K out there. It was just absolutely fantastic, and that's why it's my number 1 pick. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Thought it was sublime, perfect film viewing, and it just looked absolutely wonderful. So yeah, that is my number 1 pick, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. So yeah, those are my sort of top 10 4Ks that I think you should definitely think about investing in, because these are just ones for me that absolutely stood out, completely lended themselves to the format so well, and just made for an absolute alright, joyful experience viewing these movies. I love each and every one of them. I think they're all fantastic, and yeah, just a real treat to see them get the 4K treatment. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video there, guys, and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.